Now let's move on to your team, the New York Jets. Michael Carter was let go, the running back, not the cornerback. Um, Kind of a shocking move. Big locker room guy. Michael Carter was getting some touches there. Monday Night Football, he was like the only guy who Zach Wilson was able to complete a pass to late in the game. So I'm kind of shocked that Michael Carter was the one to let go. Can you provide some context and help those of us who might not necessarily be as familiar with the New York Jets understand what's going on?
If you're asking me to provide context to why the Jets made that decision, I can't do that because it's a terrible decision. It's a terrible decision. I really don't understand what happened there. I saw people online pointing out to a penalty he got, but I don't think that's the reason they cut him. And I think it's terrible management. Because if you remember from the trade deadline, we were talking about the Jets trying to move on from Dalvin Cook. Do you know who got more phone calls than Dalvin Cook? Michael Carter. So you choose not to trade him and get something in return just to cut him a few weeks later. Terrible management. I don't know what's going on right now. In regards to getting rid of Michael Carter, I think the only explanation is that they like Izzy Abanikanda just as much, maybe a little more than Michael Carter, and they don't see Michael Carter as the biggest part of the team's future. To that, if that's true, if they're going to give the spots to Izzy Abanikanda, I'm not against that. I think Chuss would be even more for it than I am. But I really don't understand the decision. Michael Carter, at the very least, has been one of the more consistent and better pieces of this team the last few years. Now, does he have the potential to be a running back number one on this team or any team? I don't think so. I just don't think he's that type of player. But as a running back too, as a member of a running back room, I think he's very effective. I think for me, and I've said this before, the ideal room with the Jets currently for me is Breece Hall at number one, Michael Carter and Izzy Abanikanda taking up the rest of the snaps. Dalvin Cook, even in the last game, he took a step back in this last game against the Raiders. He looked worse than previously, and I was getting a little bit more comfortable with him these last couple of weeks, and he takes a big step back in this last game. Dalvin Cook is not the answer. I think it would have been much better, much wiser to cut him. I understand there's a lot of cap implications, and I imagine that's why they chose to cut Michael Carter instead. That being said, this one hurts for me as a fan more than any of the other cuts from this offseason and from this last season.
Was there any reason that you had to cut someone, though? Or because I assume you had your game day roster set. Was there a reason they needed to cut a running back?
I mean, the only possibility would be that I could think of would be to give Abanikanda the snaps.
That's it.
Maybe they didn't like what Carter was doing in the locker room. I obviously we don't know what happened in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
I know Carter. I think Carter was also very much underutilized. So another possibility might be that they just didn't see the room for him to get the snaps he needed. So moving on from him might work better for him as a player. It's really hard to say. I mean, I wish we could have traded him if they knew this was a large possibility. I just don't get why you didn't trade him.
Yeah, so Michael Carter, I mean, and granted, this is outside looking in, but he always struck me from what I'd read about him as someone who understood his position. He understood he wasn't going to be the running back one once Breece Hall was back. I think everyone knew that. And he struck me as a good locker room team chemistry guy that wasn't an issue. And then I read, I think it was Adam Schefter reported that they had a players only meeting and they didn't say anything about Michael Carter starting that or having issues with anything. But then after the players only meeting, Michael Carter got cut. And that doesn't make sense to me because a lot of the concern with the Jets was, is the defense going to start talking bad about the offense? Is the Jets defense going to get mad because the Jets defense has been playing elite, phenomenal football and the offense has been struggling? And then they go and cut this, seems like a team favorite, best guy to have in the locker room. And now he's just kind of out there. That just seems really weird.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, it's very weird.
So Stan is at a loss for words, New York Jets fans. I don't know if you have anything to say. I wish we knew. I hope Michael Carter does end up somewhere. I don't understand this at all. I Seems like you don't understand it at all either. Just not a move that I expected the New York Jets to be making. Did you have any final thing you wanted to say about it?
I mean, I hope it ended off decently well between him and the team. Maybe we could see him again in the future. I really hope his career works out for him. I think he's a great backup, running back two, running back three type of piece for a team. And I think there's a couple of teams out there I could see him having the number one running back real long. So hopefully it works out well for him. It hurts to lose him. He was a fan favorite for me. I loved seeing him. I loved watching him play. I mean, I loved seeing him even outside of the games, right? Seeing him just like the way he interacted with his teammates, with fans. He was a great guy to have on that team.
Yeah, well, hopefully he ends up somewhere good. Cincinnati Bengals, Chase Brown's on IR. Just maybe go get him. We need running back depth, maybe, kind of. I'd love to see him end up somewhere though, even if it's not the Bengals. I was shocked by the move.
Thanks for watching that video, guys. If you want to check out a most recent full episode of No Buts About It, that's going to be right over here. Yeah, right there. Check that out. And if you just want to see more short clips, we're going to have one right over here for you to watch. Check out No Buts About It on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts so you can listen to us on the go. Once again, have a great day and go do something nice for someone.